knows that ground or the base is emptiness. In the ultimate sense, there is no size, there is no shape, and there is no quantity. So, for instance, when we think about world peace, the reason why we think it's unachievable is because in our mind we think world is big, that we, the person who is working for world peace, is small. We don't have enough money, enough manpower, we don't have things like that. We think in a very dualistic way. But for the Bodhisattva, ultimately, Bodhisattva knows that all these distinctions of size, quality, quantity, time does not exist. In the Prajnaparamita Sutra, one Bodhisattva complained to the Buddha, saying that after so many eons of benefiting sentient beings, he still finds there's millions and billions of sentient beings still roaming around the samsara. Like exhaustion, through the sheer exhaustion, this Bodhisattva complained. As a reply to this, Buddha explained in many different, gave many different examples. But just one or two examples, if I remember properly. He said that if a mother dreamt that her only child is being flooded away, carried by a flood, in the dream she would do everything to save this child, even forsake her own life. And in the dream it may take forever to rescue the child. But this is all dream, is not really happening. And Buddha said this is how the Bodhisattvas benefit sentient beings. He said for a Bodhisattva, from the time he takes the bodhicitta vow, all the way until the last moment of the 10th bhumi, he said the duration of this, even though we say 3 countless eons, he said it is even shorter than a spark of a fire coming out from a fire. When the Bodhisattva has that kind of a view, then Bodhisattva will have no tiredness to benefit countless sentient beings. So we call it Jitongvani, meaning the ground is emptiness. And then Lam Tsemameva, which is path, is characteristic less. So because the ground is emptiness, therefore the Bodhisattva path is not bound by any character or dualistic distinctions. For instance, even when Bodhisattva engage in a generosity, a Bodhisattva will know that the act of giving, object, the beggar to whom you are giving, and the substance, whatever, like the money you are giving, are all illusion, emptiness. His path is not bound by a character. His path, such as generosity, discipline, meditation, all these are accompanied by wisdom of non-duality. And then finally we call it Devumembameba, which means the result is beyond aspiration. It's not like other religion where you work so hard and finally you have something to aspire for as a result. In many different levels, the result is beyond aspiration. First of all, like Lord Maitreya has said, that there's nothing to expel, there's nothing to adopt. The perfection, one's own perfection, without needing to alter and make it better. It's like the great Longchenpa said, if you are having a nightmare, before the nightmare, during the nightmare, and after waking the nightmare never existed. You can have a long nightmare and you can have a terrible time during the nightmare, such as get bitten by a spider or a snake or eaten alive by a tiger. But in reality, you have not even moved an inch from your comfortable bed. But of course, until we realize this, you still go through the experience of suffering. So anyway, my conclusion is, what makes you not a bodhisattva, right? Generally speaking, if you have self-clinging, if you cherish the self, if you are not dwelling in this sort of view of three doors of liberation. Or, to be more simply put, if you divorce between the wisdom and method, if your method is not accompanied by wisdom, then you are not a bodhisattva. And that's it, in a very short form. But